Oh, why is it so it's fuzzy? Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to talk about your cancer
Oh,
and your treatment and what happened.
all right. Um, anyway, I'm Zelda's husband, and back when we first moved to Oregon, um, almost 40 years ago now, um, I
Yeah, it was Christmas Eve, 1984.
that's
84.
is it what, 39 years? Um, so anyway, we moved here to Oregon from Southern California, and I pray a lot, not excessively, but I do pray earnestly and honestly. And, um, I asked God to show me humility. Not very many people I don't think want to ask for that, but I wanted God to show me humility. And so shortly after that, I came down with tongue cancer. And I, uh, I went to the doctor at first, and he said, "Oh, you just bit yourself." 'Cause I said, "No, no." I said, "This is like the opposite of that. You know, when you bite your tongue, how bad that hurts, and then the pain slowly goes away. Well, in this case, it did just the opposite of that.
And because you didn't smoke, drink, or chew,
No, I had smoked, but
but only for a couple of years.
I quit smoking 10 years prior to that. So, um, yeah, you'd think that it wouldn't have any connection to smoking, but it did, because the effects of smoking, which I didn't fight.
Well,
I'll let you speak. It's raining.
actually, I had the HPV virus. I had the HPV virus because when I got
It's raining.
raped, it's okay. Anyway, that causes oral cancers, and I believe that's what caused your cancer. But anyway, that was in 85, and then you had surgery.
I had surgery on my tongue to remove the lesion, and and that was followed up by 3 months of radiation. Back then, the radiation was it was high intensity X-ray radiation. And for the places they didn't want to hit, like your thyroid gland, they put pieces of lead right there. So when the machine would hit you, um, the lead would stop it. But they radiated my whole mouth.
And they tattooed you.
The camera's moving around.
Yeah, that's all right. It's still got it. Anyway, you got tattooed on your throat, on the side of your face, and then they made this net.
Sandra.
Thunder. Ooh. They made this mesh net that you wore for when you had your uh, your radiation. You would go in the morning, but I want people to understand that when you have radiation, you still went to work, but not to your job with Motorola. You
I don't know what you want me to say.
We went to the beach and I got 3 boxes. They were at the outlet. I got 3 boxes.
Is it working?
what was that?
Bobby?
Oh, does she have her cell phone on?
I don't know.
Anyway, somebody is saying that when you have radiation, you can't work, you can't do anything.
No, that's not true. Um, during my radiation treatments, which were daily, was 5 days a week for 3 months. Where they radiated me in my mouth was I had bleeding sores inside my mouth, and the pain was just horrible. But I could still work and do things. We had just joined a new church after we moved here, and so I worked on that church. I helped build it, and so I was after my radiation treatments, I would go to the church and work really hard for several hours every day.
And that helped you focus off of your pain.
Yeah, it helped me focus away from the terrible pain, and they did actually have to stop the treatments for just a few days because the bleeding sores in my mouth were so bad that I couldn't swallow. So they stopped it for a day, for a couple of 3 days to let my body catch up a little bit, and then they go right back at it again. That went on for 3 months.
You could have stopped. They told you that you had the option of stopping for a couple of weeks if you wanted to.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Now, but the radiation was X-ray radiation, and your body can tolerate up to, well, your skin, your body turns black and dies at 11,000 rads. That's 11,000, not 100. 11,000 rads of radiation. That's where you die at. They gave me 6,500 rads of radiation. Now, just to give you an idea, an X-ray is maybe 15, 20 millirads, 1,000, just thousandths of a rad. But I got, 6,500 rads. So I was, they gave me about 2/3 of what it takes to kill you, and I survived it.
I remember you hanging on to the table just to swallow water,
Oh yeah, it was very painful.
but you kept going.
Right, I had to.
Yeah.
Now, what the radiation does also is it wipes out your salivary glands, it wipes out your taste buds, as well as makes your whole mouth just a one big bleeding, terrible
Ulcer.
sore.
Yeah.
The good news is that after the radiation treatment stopped, I got a little bit of my taste back after about 6 months. I was able to taste a few things again. You never get it all back. So I still, even today, almost 40 years later, I still have very limited taste.
And there's also some forms of the radiation and some forms of the chemo that does something to your nasal passages, your taste buds, and everything. And people are saying that someone has a drug problem because they're always sniffing like that.
Well, I never got. I only had the radiation. I never had chemo.
Right.
So the radiation wipes out your taste buds, wipes out your salivary glands. So my mouth was, after that, was dry. Oh, was it dry? I had to have, salivary replacement spray and drinking water all the time. And when I ate, I had to have lots. As even today, I have to have several glasses of water to get through a meal.
You still have to have that.
Yeah. But then back just a few years ago, just recently, I had one salivary gland came back after all these years, but it doesn't know when it's supposed to flow. It's usually tied to you eating food. When you start to eat food, you know how your mouth gushes, salivates, you gush. It doesn't know when to do that. I'll be just sitting there and it'll gush, or I'll be sitting there and it won't do anything. So it's really messed up.
Well, I'm really worried about BBT because she hid the fact that she had cancer. She didn't want anybody to know, and she had asked a fellow YouTube creator to pray for her, and that's how the word got out that she had breast cancer. And there's other YouTubers that are saying she's using it to make money. And
that's highly unlikely.
Yeah. She knows that if she wanted some money from us, she would have asked us. And she has never, ever, ever once sent us a request.
You
for
want to take
money.
over?
No. I just want you to keep going. In support of BBT. She's, as a teenager, she went through having her sister dying of cancer. And her whole family, what it does to the family dynamics to have somebody sick.
Well, when you have a sickness and pain that doesn't go away, it affects you, and it does affect the family, because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't understand that kind of pain that never goes away and gets worse, or you get sicker. People back away from you. There's all kinds of dynamics there. The thing is that when I asked God to show me humility, and I learned humility the hard way, that way.
Yeah.
And so that's been a big deal for me.
These are our outside chairs. Maybe you should move them over there because it's going to start raining.
Yes.
And I'll continue talking. So I think what happened, I don't know, I haven't talked to BBT about this, but what happened is her whole family was focused on her sister and getting her sister healed, and BBT donated her blood marrow. Do you know what that takes? That is a needle from hell. The needle is, I forget what gauge, like a 4-gauge needle. When you go get your blood drawn, they usually use a 20 gauge. A butterfly needle is 22. And so, it still hurts. But the bone marrow needle goes in the back of your hip. You lay flat. And I've seen grown men scream and cry when they get bone marrow harvested. It's a big thing, and it hurts for several days afterwards. Hopefully they sedated her when they hopefully they sedated her when they harvested the bone marrow. I don't know, but
Okay.
I'm sure she held that inside of her, and she didn't want anybody to know. It's snowing too. Oh, we're gonna have more of that zombie hail. Anyway, she held that all in for years, and maybe that's why she didn't want to tell anybody that she had breast cancer. And yes, you can go from zero to surgery in just hours when it's a certain type of breast cancer. So uh, when I had a lump and I was scared and I went to go see the doctor, I did a little video on that, and he said. And I asked my doctor, and they said, "Yeah, we can have you in surgery by tonight. Don't eat anything." Because if it's a certain type of cancer, you're going to surgery. And I was scared. I was terrified. So I believe it when BBT says that she went to surgery in a couple of hours. This is something you don't mess with because those things can spread in moments' time. So, and the reason she held it in is all the pain and suffering that she did before. And I'm sure she's disappointed in God. A lot of people prayed that her sister would get well. Yep, there we go. Zombie hail again. That's that square. I think we're going to have some lightning. Yikes. Anyway, maybe that's why she didn't tell anybody. I don't know. Some people are private that way. My husband's private that way. He didn't want anybody. Yep, there we go. Zombie hail again. Triangle. Wow. Ah, the triangle shape. So that's that zombie hail again, Larry. Triangle shaped. I need that.
I need to lay down.
Okay, go lay down.
Remember, it's first class. You have like it.
Oh, okay. Larry, look at the zombie hail. Wow. The triangle shaped again. That's awesome. Where's my... Oh, boy. Oh, that's more exciting than those pets. Woo! Wow. Yikes. I think I better go inside. Oh my gosh. Anyway, my husband's too tired to talk more about this, but I'm really upset that people are saying that she's lying about her cancer when the truth is she's not trying to make money. I'd like to send her an airline ticket. to come visit us, and we'll go on the purple crazy bus. And wow, look at that. The ground is white. Anyway, this is crazy. Hi, y'all. Nona, Patty Fish. No, I can see you, but yeah, we need to support BBT. She's breaking down, and I wish she would stop it. She's breaking down because she's held all that sadness and everything in her for so long, and then her sister died, and then the bone marrow and everything. They're so hopeful. Her parents, God bless them. They had a child that was dying, and so their focus was not on their other daughter, BBT, and I'm sure BBT feels survival guilt. She survived and her sister didn't. She sacrificed, gave her bone marrow. Like I said, bone marrow treatment is very scary. Donating bone marrow. I've seen grown men scream and cry because they were terrified. That needle is huge. It's kind of like doesn't look like a needle, but it's like a pronged thing with you know how wide a toothpick is. That's about a gauge 18, and I think the one to harvest the bone marrow is about a 6. Not sure. What's the matter, Otis? Look at Odie. 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 Oders. Anyway, I want to talk to BBT, and I think I just wish she would step back, because yeah, she's operating out of pain, and this pain isn't just from recent stuff. This is from old issues: her sister's death, her parents' reaction, what all the family dynamics were back then, and then being accused that she's a drug addict and sad fishing for money, and being called a thief. Well, there's a thief on the cross who was humble, and then there's a thief with a cross who is not humble. Talk about calling the kettle black. If you look at Surviving the Storms, what Dorothy has to say, wow, what Natasha Cooper did with when she had that shop, took people's money. And then accusing BBT of being the thief. Hey, guess what? I was a thief one time too. I was pregnant. I was with my aunt, and I was just ready to pop, and I knew I was going to have a boy, and we went to this mom and pop store, and I stole some stuff. I stole a whole train set. I was 17, and I was 2 weeks away from having my son. And I got it for my son. I tell you, it's been over 50 years, and I think about that often. And it makes me so mad at myself for what I did. I'm so ashamed. It's something I could never pay back. All I could do is ask God to forgive me. And I'm sure it hurt those people financially. And I got rid of that train set because I felt so horrible. So nobody's perfect. Everybody has sinned. But don't throw it in somebody's face. Ooh, thunder. Don't throw it in somebody's face and try to act all holier than thou with the crosses on your wall. Like I said, it's a thief with a cross and not a thief on the cross. There's a big difference. Those holy icons mean nothing. Look at the Catholic priest that raped and murdered one of the nuns. He was wearing a cross, and he took the cross and he made the sign of a cross on her belly after he raped and murdered her. So those cross icons mean nothing, and actually it's blasphemy. God hates liars too. So just because they looked and pretend they're holy doesn't mean they are. Anyway, I'm not feeling good, and I'm really disgusted with what's going on. And I support BBT 100%. I'd like to take a bar of soap and clean her mouth out. But God can look past that. He's big. He's big enough to forgive. And he understands. He knows what she's been through. None of us know what she's been through. Can you imagine being a little girl and hoping that your sister's going to live so you donate bone marrow? I'm sure she wanted to say no, but the pressure that she felt, if she said no, her sister would die. I'm sure her parents did not force her to do that. But how disappointing, how scary, and all that family dynamics. Larry never holds it against me for having the HPV virus because I was raped by a monster. His name was Happy. He's in prison for raping his 5-year-old daughter. Anyway, he gave me the HPV virus and he got me pregnant, which in turn gave me infertility and Larry's oral cancer. Look up oral cancers on the rise. So many people are getting oral cancers, throat cancers, tongue cancers because of the HPV virus. And it gave me cervical cancer. Come on. And I had all kinds of surgeries trying to get pregnant. And my mom told me the reason I couldn't have a baby is God was mad because I was a hoe bag. She refused to acknowledge that I didn't choose getting pregnant. I didn't choose this. But I had nowhere to go. So anyway, I'm tired. That's my sad life. Nobody wants to hear it. Anyway, it was our 50th wedding anniversary, and we'd like to sit and talk about how we made it through, how we survived so much. Larry's parents hated me. They tried to get him to divorce me and leave me and leave those kids that we had. They hated the kids that we adopted, that I adopted. They said that Cheryl adopted Zelda. Um, it was very stressful because the girls were very damaged. And we got them out of the orphanage and we exposed the orphanage for what they were, and that was a sex trafficking ring. It was tied to the Manhattan Beach daycare center there in LA. So they did a news story about us. Sally Jesse Raphael and Geraldo Rivera and Jody Hammond um, made a story about the orphanage and how we handled it. So anyway, as something we've never really talked about, my husband wrote a book. He hasn't published it yet because we're scared. Anyway, I'm going to close down. I wanted to show you. I wanted to get my husband a nice card for our 50th wedding anniversary. We didn't have a celebration. We were going to go somewhere. We were going to go up to Leavenworth, it's a German town up in Washington. We were going to take the crazy bus, but because of my husband's torn rotator and a shoulder pain, and he didn't want to drive the motorhome, so he thought of taking the train. Well, anyway, just things didn't work out that way. So we're going to take a cruise, a river cruise here in Oregon. That'll be fun. It's just up the Columbia River. Anyway, I didn't want to just get any card, so I made this card. This is a drawing that I made as a watercolor painting. And it's a large painting. Anyway, I shrunk it down and I had it put on paper. And then I poured sand on it. Now this sand is from the beach. This is Bahia Honda State Park in the Florida Keys. And that's our favorite place where we go, a little cabana and then we build sand castles. And then we're always writing Schmiley, Schmilys, Schmiley. That means see how much I love you. Schmiley and sandcastles. Oh, listen to that. Ugh, scary. Anyway, he loves this card. So that's a watercolor I did, and then I did the inside. We were married March 25, 1973. And we have survived so much. Oh. Yeah, that is zombie hail. Let me see. Let me get some of it. I'll show you. That's rare stuff. Rare stuff. Zombie hail. I keep forgetting what the technical term is. I'm going to eat a gluten-free cookie. Mm. triangle shaped tail. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Enjoying my view. I love living here. I can't believe we live here. She had 2 offers on the house for close to 900,000. No, over 900. It was listed at 9 something. And she had 2 offers. And I said, "Oh, we can afford it. 550." She told me to get my butt off the property. I kept sad fishing. We really wanted this house, but we couldn't afford more than 550. I begged Larry to let's get a loan and do something so we can buy this house. And she says, "No, we're not going into debt. I want 100% debt free." Oh, look at that little cloud. Twirling around. And I went down to the end of the street. There's a 65 by 44-foot steel web building, concrete, double insulated, heated. And I walked by because it's on the property next to us. It's our property, but there's 2 pieces of property. Now, mind you, this was 8 years ago. And I said, one of these days, that's going to be our church. We're going to have a church there. Now, why would we need a church when everything's fine? This was before the pandemic, before all the shutdowns. And I asked her again if we could buy this house for 550. She's like a little truck driver. She was a barmaid. Her husband was a commercial fisherman, lost at sea. And so she got a nice little settlement. And her parents also lived in the guest house, 1,100 square foot guest house, really nice guest house. So it was definitely worth $950 or $1 million, and no way she should sell it to us for $550. But it's got one level and a view, and a pond in the front. She said, "No, get off my property, you little idiot." You know, we paid $720 for it 8 years ago. Why would you offer us $550? You know it's worth at least $1 million. I said, I know. I'm just asking. So a few days later, she calls me. She says, "I want you kids both come here at noon." I says, "Okay." So I just knew she was going to yell at us and call us names and tell us that the deal had closed and they gotten their $1 million price and see how stupid you are, you know. I just knew that's what they were going to say. So we're sitting at the table and she goes, "Okay, for some reason we really like you kids and those other people really pissed us off. And I'm not nuts for saying this, but if you want the house for $550 and you can close by Friday, all cash, it's yours." We paid $550 for this. And the other day, a real estate agent came by and he says, "I'll give you $1.2 million for this place." I said, I don't think so. Where would we go? Anyway, can you believe that? That's so weird. And yeah, with the 1,100 square foot guest house and all one level. Larry rebuilt the deck. It needed a new deck. It needs a new roof. Maybe, I don't know. It's not leaking, but anyway, why would they sell it to us for $550? Half price when they had 2 offers. She said, oh, those other guys really pissed her off. And she was selling it just to make them mad. I saw her the other day at the grocery store. I told her we still love the house. She says, yeah, I know you guys really wanted it. That was for you. So God moved in mysterious ways. Wow. I still shake my head. Why did they sell this place for $550? Clearly it was worth. Well, this was 8 years ago. It was valued at over $1 million something, and now it's even more. So we couldn't afford to buy it. No way. So anyway, God is good all the time. I believe he blessed us because he knew that we were going to have more hardships come around. Some more stuff happen. Anyway, I better quit rambling. Look at those hills. That's Goat Peak. Anyway, God bless you guys. Thank you for coming by and listening to my ramble. Goodbye. And, people are hurting out there. A lot of people are suffering. Yeah. Read that book, The Great Controversy. If you're in the U.S., I'll be happy to send you the copy. The illustrated one is really good. Anyway, people are hurting. I'm sure you go to the grocery store, you can find somebody who looks downcast, who's sad, may not have enough money to buy that milk or something. They need a blessing. You can be that blessing to them. You don't have to give them money or just say something kind. You be that blessing to them because they sure could use it, and it will bless you in turn. Anyway, God bless you, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you for shopping Kmart.